What if your neighbors suddenly danced until they died? It sounds like the plot of a bizarre dark comedy, but in the summer of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, now in modern-day France, this horrifying scene actually happened. And it wasn't just a few people at a party gone wrong, it was dozens, maybe hundreds. The story begins in July 1518. Strasbourg was a bustling medieval city, sitting along the River Rhine. Markets were crowded, merchants called out their prices. The smell of fresh bread and roasted meats drifted from the bakeries. It was hot, the streets were dusty, and life, for most people, was a constant struggle against famine, disease, and heavy taxes. And then one woman, Frau Troffea, stepped into the narrow cobblestone street and began to dance. No music, no festival, no visible reason. At first, the neighbors probably smiled, maybe even laughed. But the smile faded as the hours ticked by. Frau Troffea kept moving, her arms, her legs, jerking and swaying in strange, repetitive motions. The next day, she was still at it, and the day after that. By now, her feet were swollen. Blisters had broken open. Her dress clung to her from sweat, but she couldn't stop. Within a week, others joined her. A handful at first, then dozens. Men, women, even teenagers, spinning, stomping, swaying, as if pulled by invisible strings. And the strangest part? They weren't smiling, they weren't having fun. Their faces were twisted in pain and exhaustion. Yet their bodies refused to rest. The city leaders, confused and alarmed, decided to consult the local physicians. The doctors ruled out supernatural causes, at least at first. Their diagnosis? Hot blood. In medieval medical theory, hot blood meant your body was overheated and your humors were unbalanced. Their solution? Let the people dance it out. So they cleared a space in the city, they built a wooden stage, and they hired musicians, drummers, pipers, and fiddlers to keep the dancers going. Before we continue, what's your first guess? Was it some kind of poison, mass hysteria, or maybe something stranger? Drop your theory in the comments. I want to see what you think. Unfortunately, the city's plan backfired. The music only attracted more dancers. Soon, around 400 people were moving day and night, some collapsing from exhaustion, some suffering strokes or heart attacks. Witnesses said the sound was unforgettable. The relentless stomping of feet on wood and stone, the wheezing breaths of exhausted bodies, the occasional scream from someone who could no longer bear it, but still could not stop. So, what caused it? Historians have debated this for centuries. One theory is ergot poisoning, from eating bread made with rye contaminated by a fungus called Claviceps purpurea. This fungus produces a chemical similar to LSD, which can cause convulsions, hallucinations, and muscle spasms. It's a tempting explanation, but there's a problem. Ergot poisoning usually makes people too weak to stand, let alone dance for days on end. Another theory is mass psychogenic illness, basically mass hysteria. Imagine a community living under constant stress, famine, disease outbreaks, religious fear. One person has a breakdown, and somehow that anxiety spreads like wildfire, triggering similar symptoms in others. There's also the religious theory, tied to a superstition known as Saint Vitus's dance. People believe that if they angered Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers, they could be cursed to dance uncontrollably until forgiven. In some parts of Europe, people would gather at shrines to Saint Vitus to ward off the curse. In Strasbourg, the idea of a divine punishment may have been terrifying enough to make people believe it was real and act it out. And then there's the mystery camp, the people who say, maybe it wasn't poisoning or hysteria or religion, maybe it was something else entirely, some unknown condition or phenomenon that has since disappeared from the world. What we do know is that by late August, the city abandoned its dance it out cure. Instead, they ordered the remaining dancers to be taken to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus. There, Priests performed rituals and prayers over them. Slowly, the dancing plague faded. People returned to their homes and to their lives. But not everyone survived. The records aren't precise, but enough people died for the city to remember this event for generations. And then it was over. No more music, no more wild, involuntary dancing. Just a strange memory of a summer when hundreds could not stop moving. A town that danced itself into exhaustion. Was it poisoned bread? A chain reaction of the mind? A religious curse? Or something we simply can't explain? What do you think happened in Strasbourg in 1518? Let me know in the comments. I read everyone.